and welcome back to the Simply, Strictly, Slightly, Potentially,
You don't know the name
a
of
little
our
bit
podcast.
unrelated podcast.
You don't know the name of our podcast, do you?
See, this is what it's like working with a co-host. I tried doing a kind of stylish,
bitch.
funky little. See, she doesn't even believe me. I'm actually being dead serious. I was trying to do like a funky kind of intro there.
Yeah, I thought I was
make it all
gonna
kind of
give
cool,
you and I thought I was
and
gonna
just
make
being
a joke.
like, this is the Simply, Strictly, Slightly Unrelated Podcast. And then, of course, all of a sudden we get the peanut gallery. Oh, you don't even know the name of the podcast.
That's exactly what I sounded like.
Thanks a lot, Emma. You fucked it all up.
You're welcome. I was glad to fuck that up with you. I feel like you need that once in a while just to keep you in check. Just to make sure I was like, you don't remember the name of our podcast. You fucked up and accidentally said the wrong thing at first. Huh. You don't love it. You don't want it enough. You're my...
Go ahead, baby. Fuck me up.
Ew. Gross.
And that's how you disarm that situation. So here we are. Sup, everybody. The Strictly Unrelated Podcast. Now that Emma has gotten that out of her system, and it's just going to continue from here on out.
Me?
Because as you know, again, she is being held in an underground government facility of which we cannot name, and we have tried our best with our attorneys, but she is still being held in that location.
You have
so
not
she's going to
tried your
continue
best.
being loud, obnoxious.
You have not tried your fucking
That's true. That's true. There was a better lawyer, but I really wanted to get a new microphone, so we passed on the better lawyer. But
Yeah, I feel like
we'll get you eventually.
I feel like I don't agree with that purchase choice, but I'm not the one handling the money, so whatever. I guess
just
for now.
Just because you have a dollar store microphone doesn't mean that you get the shit on me.
Now. For now. Anyway.
See, and here I am, a guy who has way too many microphones, who was legitimately thinking of shipping her a new one, but now she's being all kind of mean and she ruined my intro, and I don't know.
I'm just kidding. Maybe I should just go. We can start over. I'm like, oh my god, that was the best opening of all time. I think there's no other opening. I even in movies or trailers, anywhere else, that was the best opening there has ever been. Openings, okay.
Nah, nobody worry. That's Emma, my co-host. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Strictly Unrelated Podcast, and we are here for episode 7. And we just don't ever feel bad for either of us. We rip on each other. In case you're ever concerned, don't worry about it.
That's.
If we ever have anything to pick fights with, we do it behind closed doors. And I have yet to have a fight picked with Emma yet, so I think we're doing pretty good.
I can't imagine what we would have an argument about. Like, there's plenty of things we disagree about, but we've never had an argument. We sound like an old married couple. I did make an argument earlier that Mr. Rogers is way too nice to be in heaven, but that could be a good conversation. Because and that's when I said, gasp, don't you fucking dare. I will throw you out with the fucking baby. I don't give a shit.
Listen, I thought you were smelling what The Rock was cooking, because in my mind, that was more of a religious dig and just being like, yo, bro, depending on which version of God you believe in, the Old Testament or the New Testament, that guy's either a giant dickhead or he's just kind of all right. If you believe in the Old Testament God, then yes, Mr. Rogers, way too nice. He is 100% in hell.
No.
If you believe in the New Testament, yeah, he's probably in heaven.
I'm an atheist, and even the idea of him not getting into heaven is just ludicrous and offensive even to me. Like, if there's such thing.
Okay, I'm going to ask you.
I don't want him to get.
I was going to say, I'm going to ask you to analyze that.
What?
I was going to say, I'm going to ask you to analyze that, because you claim to be an atheist, but you're concerned about where Mr. Rogers' hypothetical soul is resting. I don't think you're an atheist.
That's literally what I was just saying. Like, that's the irony of the situation. Keep up with the joke there, buddy. That's why I was.
I mean, there's no joke. It just doesn't make sense.
Irony is comedy, you stupid bitch. That's the funniest part about it. You're not, just because you're not laughing doesn't mean you're not laughing on the inside. I know you are.
I mean, I'm always laughing on the inside. I mean, listening to you talk is adorable just because there's so many mistakes you make. I mean, there's a reason that I'm the second guy here, because I mean, if you were running this thing, holy shit, this would be a clown show.
Did you see me have a podcast before this? No, then that's probably why, because I understand that. I would fuck it up, even by myself.
Listen, we have some pretty clear rules here. You are the energy and the sex appeal, and I am the writing.
Ooh,
and that's about it.
I'm the sex appeal. That's nice. That's nice.
Oh, it certainly isn't me. I will never take credit for that.
I mean, I am.
There's a reason your icon is far more realistic to your appearance than mine. We'll just put it that way.
Oh, that's sweet though. That's just a nice little compliment because I like my avatar. Because my hair can look like that. I haven't ever styled it like that, but I want to. I saw the avatars, all those things. I love those avatars. The only reason I don't like them a little bit though is because my abusive ex-boyfriend would use them as like when he was trying to make up for some shitty thing that he'd done or something he'd been an asshole about. He tried to like buy me avatars, and so I have like literally like 1,000 of these things. Like,
well, let's go ahead. If you've been playing along with the official SUP bingo card, that is yet another mention of the crazy Psycho X that Emma has. Mark that one off. That one usually happens at least once an episode.
Yeah.
And you want to go ahead and mark that off today?
I haven't mentioned him except for once last episode. What are you talking about?
I know.
I was like, wait a minute.
I know. I'm just busting your hypothetical balls, all right?
I know you are. I'm just sitting here. I was like, literally, at first I was worried going, did I bring him up every fucking episode? I have not, definitely. Because I forget. I say a lot of shit in these episodes, and then I forget everything I said for the most part until I listen to it later. And I'm like, oh, like even right now, if I think about the stuff I just said in the last 20 minutes or like 5 minutes, I'm like, I got some I could tell you, but otherwise, like, and it gets worse as it goes along because its short-term memory is absolutely horrid in my brain. Oh, it's so bad. It's, first year film student bad. Yeah. So we're just going to continue on it.
So Emma's starting us off on a high note. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump into something that I think is worth mentioning, and I think we are there's probably some of you, all 4 of you that are listening right now, you may have heard of this fella here, but I thought something that would be an interesting, we're going to have to open this up right away because it has literally been all over tech news, all over video game news, and all over content creator news. It's got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of millions of engagements across social media, and that is the absolute, complete, and total death of the persona Dr. Disrespect. And anybody like myself who has been around on streaming platforms like Twitch or YouTube knows about Dr. Disrespect. He is a guy who, as of today, is 42 years old. He is a gaming personality. He is known for his extremely crazy production value and his over-the-top personality as kind of like this. I hate saying it because it's just got so many negative connotations to it, but it's not the way you think it is. He's got kind of like this alpha kind of like mentality of like this overconfident, like gaming god kind of guy, but not like in the red pill way. No, he's like, all you need to know is that, again, he's just got a persona that's unique, and a lot of people have tried to emulate it, and he's been hugely popular. And out of left field in 2020, while he was legitimately the face of Twitch, he gets permabanned. And everybody was in the dark about it. And everyone was so fucking confused and weirded out because it legitimately made no sense. It was just like, how the fuck did they just fire this guy who they're not only promoting big time, but who is one of their biggest streamers, right?
Yeah.
So it's been 4 years since this happened. And since then, there's been nothing. All we know is that Twitch paid out his whole contract and that he had filed a lawsuit against Twitch and they ended in a settlement. So there's been rumors, everything. Now, there is zero doubt anymore what happened, at least to some degree. There's still a little bit of vagueness because the actual hard evidence, as far as I know, still isn't out there, but it's all but been confirmed. Spoilers, he was texting a minor and trying to meet up with them at a convention. And this is a guy who once took a break because he was cheating on his wife. And so this is a guy who's already been unfaithful once, had a big public, thing where he was just like, guys, I've been unfaithful, I'm going to take a break. And it was just like, well, kind of an asshole, but whatever. If him and his wife can work it out, which it seemed like they did, then all the power to them. If they worked it out and they're still together, which they were, great. But as of this week, some rando who used to be an employee at Twitch, I decided that he was just going to casually mention that, this guy who he didn't say was Dr. Disrespect outright, but everybody figured it out pretty quickly, was trying to meet up with a minor, and that was why he was banned. So it's led to a whole bunch of shit. So one, it's led to the downfall of this guy's entire career, because first he tried responding to it by saying that, oh, it's not true. And then he came out and admitted to everything. And it was just like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is not good.
Yeah, that's a little concerning. Like, because he's...
So, I know.
He's broadcasting to a bunch of kids all the time, just because that's...
Oh, sure.
I mean, the people who watch Twitch, I imagine, are going to be young, mostly younger demographic.
18 to at least like 13 to 24 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of children, and essentially what had happened again, and I know I'm kind of going long-winded, I'm just trying to wrap up some important details real quick. But this guy again, like, owns a business. This guy has a huge, he's got 5 million subscribers on YouTube, so he's a huge face. He's got all kinds of sponsorships, including Turtle Beach. He's done work with the San Francisco 49ers because he's from that area.
Yeah, I know. That's the part.
You know, now all of them are cutting ties with him because he came out with this long-winded, like, let me just go ahead and, like, clear the air, where he admitted to texting a minor.
What was the text about, though? Like, I'm sitting here going, that is creepy, but...
Here's the weird part. There is still nothing that I'm aware of. I still haven't seen anything in terms of actual, like, evidence, because that would be my concern as well. It's already bad enough that you're messaging a minor, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But for the complete sake of argument, this person could be 17 in a place where a minor is 17.
Right, still.
They could be 11, you know? All that matters is that, yes, they're a minor. It's still fucked up, and it's still a problem. But none of the evidence has actually come out. But because somebody who used to work for Twitch came out and said it, and then a couple other people corroborated it, Doc was forced to make a statement. Because he started with some legalese shit where he was just like, well, no wrongdoing was acknowledged. And it's like, Jesus, what is this Drake-ass response that you've got? Like, oh, well, yeah. I didn't get arrested. And it's like, yeah.
It's starting to sound a little bit like the Kendrick Lamar-Drake beef right now.
Well,
which is hilarious.
Because, again, it was a very weak response, and obviously a lot of people rode him for that, and they were just like, listen, Doc, were you texting a minor or not? He was using, Twitch had their own, like, little messaging app called Whispers, and he was using that to, quote-unquote, sending messages that he said were, quote, sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate, which is legalese for, they got inappropriate. So, you know, it's one of those things, and he admitted that they were a minor.
And it was an inappropriate conversation. Goes back.
It leaned too much in the direction of being inappropriate, was his actual phrasing.
Oh, yeah, that means it was inappropriate.
It's 100% means it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
It just means it's legally bind. It just means it's legally, you know, blunt, like not blunt, but legally vague.
Yeah.
You know, to get people to not be able to pull directly, like, you know, oh, he guaranteed said it. It's like, no, he buried it in legalese, but we all know what it means. It means that they were inappropriate.
Right.
You know, it's very simple. If that child was your child, would you be okay with them having this conversation?
Right.
Your answer is going to be no.
Yep.
Which means it's bad for you.
Yep.
But either way, I bring this whole long-winded bullshit up because it's very much a function of our society how people get really parasocial with their relationships with streamers, with YouTubers, with internet personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't lie, I was a huge Doc fan for a long time. I thought he was fucking funny. I got a big kick out of Doc. I still watched a bunch of his stuff, but it's like, yep, his career's over. And you just don't come back from it now.
This brings up the age-old debate, though, like, can you separate the person from what they did? And for me, it depends.
Oh, sure you can.
Yeah, exactly. Sure, well, it depends on the person, I think. You know, some people can't, and that's fine. For me, like, it depends on what they did. Like, Drake is one of those people, I never really liked his music that much anyway, but especially now, like, yeah, no, I don't think I've been listening to much Drake from here on out. Because a lot of his songs are about that shit.
Sure.
Like, he wrote songs about, like, especially women, he's known for that shit, and it's like, ew, that's the grossest part about it.
Yeah, now it's like, how old was this lady you were talking about, Drake?
Right, exactly. How old was this girl? Like, I'm interested. Like that's what I said. When it's a vague terminology, when they say like there was a conversation for texting a minor. Texting isn't a crime, and if it was just like friendly, like that'd be like that's, he shouldn't be probably as an adult talking to a kid like that, but because that's slightly inappropriate. But otherwise, if it was just a regular conversation, I'd be like, okay, well, no big deal. But if he got banned like that and got fucking railroaded by Twitch and everyone else around him, that tells me that no, that conversation was absolutely off the walls. Like, there's no way it was like even a little bit appropriate. It had to have been heavily flirtatious and probably graphic at some point. And like, even if the kid was 17 or something like that, it's still a minor. I don't get that. Like I've said it before, I don't get the 18, barely 18 fucking kind of like genre of porn. I think that's gross because now it was gross even when I was like a 25-year-old, but now as a 35-year-old, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's absolutely disgusting, especially if you're like a man in your 40s. Like, that's just beyond. I'm like, that is a child. That's what you're looking at. Just because she turned 18 doesn't mean she's somehow an adult. And like, there's this argument like, yes, it is. She's an adult now. Like, no. You know what I mean? That like just because someone has a birthday doesn't mean suddenly they're an adult. That's still someone who's making childish decisions because yesterday they were a child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's fucking gross. It's just really predatory behavior, and obviously, like, that's where grooming comes in too, which is what Drake did. That's something that's so important to talk about too, because these girls are just out here not knowing any better because they're just excited because they're talking to some celebrity. They just are willing to do and say anything for that kind of approval, and they're impressionable, and they're going to say, and so that's how these girls get groomed. And so I feel like that's what was going on there, was some grooming element, because this was clearly going.
Oh yeah, sure, it's an abuse of power. Yeah, absolutely, because they say, hey, I want to, this person who, like a lot of people have said for a long time that they think that Millie Bobby Brown was groomed by Drake. Since we were talking about Drake.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because he was like chatting her up when she was like 13. It's like, dude, what are you doing talking to a 13-year-old?
Yeah.
Guy, like what? Really?
It's weird.
Like, what are you talking to her for?
Or what are you talking
and
about?
She defends it. To this day, she's like, oh, we didn't do anything, wrong.
What is an adult?
But I guarantee you.
But what does an adult have to? What does an adult have to talk about with a fucking 13-year-old? What topics are they really?
Obviously nothing.
Like, yeah, what's stimulating conversation?
Obviously nothing.
Fucking.
Obviously, he's a PDF. He's a PDF file as the favorite censored. That's my favorite censored version of that word, is people are starting to call people PDF files.
Oh my god. I mean, that's pretty funny. But
because sites like YouTube edit it out. They don't like the word.
That song, They Not Like Us, is a pretty fucking great song. I'm not gonna lie. I was listening. The first time I heard it, like, you might lose in a key, and I bet it's in A minor. I was just like, oh, that God, my mouth was fully on the floor when I heard that song for the first time.
Well, what's the most outstanding is that not only did the guy effectively end that beef with that song, but he made the summer's #1 hip hop.
Oh yeah.
And it's legitimately going to be blasted in clubs for the rest of the year. And if you're Drake, there's nothing you can do about it except just deal with it.
And that's the beautiful thing about it.
That's the biggest flex of all. Is not only did he make a diss track, but not only did he already make diss tracks before that to Drake, but one of Drake's criticisms of him is that he couldn't make a banger, and then he did it. And it's like, yeah.
And that's exactly what he did.
I don't got a dog in this fight. I don't know a whole lot. I don't know a whole lot about Drake, especially Kendrick. I know a couple of his songs, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend I have a dog in that fight. But there's nothing fun. There's nothing more beautiful than watching a prime hater evolve into an apex hater. And
yes.
That's what Kendrick became. Was like just the king of the player haters ball.
Yes.
And the fact that during the pop-up concert he played that song 5 fucking times just tells you. I don't think that guy would. I think that beef is real enough that he probably would not be able to be in the same room as Drake without going at him.
Oh yeah.
Like that guy genuinely hates Drake, and I love it.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and that's Kendrick Lamar's
because
a fucking poet.
That is some Tom and Jerry level beef right there. There's no conversation. It's just on.
Yes, exactly.
It's just on. As the kids would say, it is on site.
Exactly, on site.
So the only reason I brought up that whole thing about disrespect is not only because it's a big thing, but it's always amusing to me when people realize that the people that they idolize on social media, whether they're content creators, whether they're even if they're celebrities like musicians, actors, or if they're just plain old YouTubers or podcasters, when they find out that like, oh, there's something this person either thinks or this one thing that they it just ruins their complete perspective of them, or like makes them think that all of a sudden, they must be bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, man, I don't know how to tell you this, but none of the people you like are perfect, and it's weird because it always happens. It always happens with politics.
Yeah.
They'll say something that like is slightly right wing or slightly left wing, and people will just be like, "Oh, ew, they're one of those."
Okay,
people.
But speaking of politicians and saying ew, that debate last night. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit. I have to because, oh my god! So I saw a meme today that like they're comparing Joe to Mr. Burns with his little hands like up like that, and there's a picture of it. I was fucking rolling. And like I said earlier, Trump got a good burn, and I'm not gonna lie, when he said like I can't understand what he said, I don't think he knows what he said either. I was like, son of a bitch, it's bad when Trump gets a fucking zinger in. Like, I couldn't fucking even. I saw like we talked about a couple clips of that, and I was out.
What I'm gonna do to simulate what I heard. There's an episode of South Park where Stan and we end up realizing it starts to go through depression.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that ends up getting kind of like, in South Park's very eloquent way, the way Stan experiences depression is that he starts hearing everything as fart noises and poop noises. Yep. Like the radio starts up and it's just going, this is the show starring and
yeah.
And like all the music he hears sounds like shit. Even when he looks at his food, he sees poop on a plate. Yep. And again, in South Park's very eloquent way, it's them showing Stan beginning to battle depression, because parents just broke up. And it's actually pretty heartfelt. It's actually like one of the better arcs they've done in South Park, but they do, like I said, in their own way, a way of talking about Stan's depression. And I could not help but just sit there and say, every single time one of them opens their mouth, I just see a big fat log just fall out. I just see diarrhea. I just hear diarrhea. And it's like, I'm Stan. I don't hear him say anything. I literally just see them both just shitting out of their mouths.
That's exactly it.
And it's like, and like, part of me really hopes that the conspiracy theory I heard earlier is true, which is that the Democrats have lost so much hope in him that they legitimately just fed him to Trump to give themselves an easy way of like really painting how fucking fried that guy is, and to replace him with somebody. Now, who they would pick, I have no idea, because Trump's got an insane amount. They would never let that guy run.
They won't. They would never.
They would never let him run.
Yeah.
Bernie is far too left-wing for the American Democrat
Party. I know, but I'm just saying.
They would never let him
I'm just saying,
run.
Since we're in the worst-case scenario universe, I'm just like, maybe we could skip over to the best-case scenario universe and just have some fun there.
I mean, the best-case scenario is, hey, NSA agent, just turn your mic off for a second. Turn the headset off. You don't need to hear this. The best case scenario is that neither of them win.
Yeah, exactly.
The best case scenario is that they're both so freaking old that they croak before November. Yeah. It's legitimately the best scenario.
I just think, if we just, I think if you just put them each in a home and, rebuilt the Oval Office and a couple other places and made it a special home, where they think they're the president and but no one's the president. And then you just have them, they would never know the difference. They're so decrepit and stupid, they would never know that they weren't actually in Washington. You know what I mean? They're too fucking old at this point to even, understand reality around them.
Unless they find a way to lock him up, I'm convinced Trump's gonna win.
God.
And that first debate was a really bad sign.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, too.
It's a really bad sign. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm scared of Trump being president, because just like the people that thought that Barack Obama was going to end the country, and he was a president for 8 years, you know, the same people that thought when Trump was a president the first time that he was literally going to drag gay people out of their homes and execute them in the streets. It's like, listen, the American president really is not the person you think they are.
Yeah, no.
But that's just me. You know, it's like, the good news is in 4 years, we will hopefully be done with both of them. And that we will have somebody else to look forward to. And I just don't know how it can get worse. And I'm going to knock on wood because I just don't know how.
Yeah.
Because, again, in to steal Jon Stewart's words, how is this real life?
Yeah.
You see, because my only reaction out of that whole thing last night was to just sit there and realize and have this like existential dread of just, this is the best we can manage.
Yep.
And the fact that the American people, I think this is a wonderful opportunity to look at your friends, to look at people who are not your friends, maybe people you've written off because they don't agree with your politics, which is a terrible reason to write them off.
Right.
But look to the people you don't normally look to. I bet you're going to find a lot of agreement today that we don't have a lot of good choices.
We don't have any good choices.
And maybe, and I'll get off my soapbox, even though I'm totally lying, and I'll totally get back on it later for something else. But for right now, I'll get off it.
I normally interject more, but I have nothing to say. I'm just listening going, yup, motherfucking yup.
I know, which is why I'm going to stop right here and just say, all I hope is that more people realize that the average American is so much more sympathetic to them. The average American is so much more relatable, and people need to realize that politics on the internet are just that. And the average person is going to be so much more likable and agreeable. And people need to realize that it's really dangerous, dangerous to completely exclude people from your life that are not little clones of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you need
to break out of your echo chamber.
Yes, you need friends, you need lovers, partners who are different than you. And there's no problem with that. It's like, go ahead and tell me that you guys disagree on something like the morality of cannibalism, and that might be a little bit hard to that might be hard to make that relationship work, friendship or not. But almost most things, you know, like even something that you think might be a game changer, like abortion, you can disagree with somebody and still be friends with them. It's really weird to me that people don't they don't think that's possible.
I'm just going to give a install story really quick to touch on this.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
My uncle was a pilot in the Navy and was a flight instructor there. He's the one who gives people those call signs like you see in Maverick and shit like that. And he gave me one, which was Hellcat, by the way, which is fucking awesome. I love it. But anyway, he is a Republican and he's conservative. He's a Christian. And he and I've had some of my favorite moments and conversations with him all the time. He's just one of my favorite people on earth, and he's just hilarious. He's a good person to the very core of who he is. He has my cousins, his two beautiful daughters, Alex and Kat. Just an amazing human being, and I can't tell you much how different our views are. But the thing he does for me that's first of all that is so different is that he asks questions, and that's the most important thing. Is just ask questions, and you'll always find something that you didn't understand. And the most important thing I think people can do when they don't understand something, or they don't understand the answer, they don't know the answer, is what my uncle did one time. Mm-hmm. I was on my Facebook page and I posted something about the whole bathroom bill in North Carolina. This was a number of years ago. And he has two daughters, right? And on my Facebook page, we were discussing it. My friends and I were going back and forth. And then he came in and he was like, very respectfully, he was like, so why shouldn't I be worried about my two daughters though? Like I'm worried. And then the man goes in there and we had told him, my friends pitched in.
Is this going to be one of your incel rants?
No, listen, I just stop.
I'm sorry. I know I jumped in. Go ahead. The two daughters.
My friends were having this great conversation with him and going back and forth. And then they kind of explained, especially with my friend who was trans came on there. I had two friends who were trans comment back to him. And my friend trans gave him an answer about no, that's not what you think. Get it out. I just want to go in to do my business. I just go in the stall and blah, 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 and finish this up. I just want, it gives him a really solid answer of I'm just trying to go about my day and the hormones, and explains about his hormones. And my uncle goes, oh my God, I'm a fucking idiot. And we're like, what's wrong? And he goes, I forgot that women don't have urinals. So he was thinking that somebody was going to pull their dick out right in front of his daughters when, he didn't realize, oh, wait, that's right. They're going to be in the girls' bathroom. He was just worried about his kids seeing catching an eyeful. And I was like, that's not only hilarious, that's such a human moment, but the fact that he could have just faded out and be like, oh, whoops, and been embarrassed and not said anything else. But instead he admitted his mistake and and I love my friends, my liberal friends, for answering his questions and stuff, because I was like, that they completely quashed that, that belief in him that he was uncomfortable about. And that's what it's all about, is doing that, is just questioning things and not being afraid to say, I don't know, or there's even looking a little silly. There's nothing wrong with that. We all bond, I think, the most as human beings in those little moments.
It's outstanding how much people would understand each other more and how much better we would get along with each other if there was just more of that kind of conversation where it's like, listen, you know what? There needs to be, and I think this is the problem with anonymity, because if you're in front of somebody and you have these kind of conversations, they're so much more honest and true, as opposed to having them online where people are defensive by default. Even on a website like Reddit, which prides itself as being some source of conversation on the internet, is legitimately a dumpster fire of stupid, introverted weirdos that are far more interested in gaining fake internet points by insulting you than they are about having a real conversation. And I'll give a perfect example of this. I'll toot my own horn real quick because I like where you're going with this. But I had one of the subreddits that I am assigned, that one of the subreddits that I follow, because I am a terrible person, I'm sure, is Pussy Pass Denied.
And I follow that subreddit too. That's a great subreddit.
And I don't follow this subreddit because I want to see women beaten or harassed. It's legitimately the same reason I follow subreddits that are quite opposite of it, because I want to know what everybody's talking about. It's the same reason that I follow some liberal subreddits and some conservative ones. I follow the conspiracy subreddit, for example, because that subreddit is hilarious. Not because I want to read all this, oh, President Biden is actually a reptilian, look at his eyelids, and it's oh, okay. And there's plenty of that. But I love this subreddit because every once in a great while, there's some good conversation. Yeah. It's very rare. I won't lie. But for the most part, it's just entertaining because there's a lot of people who, again, are kind of lacking world experience. So some guy posted, and no, we're not doing the Reddit segment, but I wanted to bring this up because we're having a good opening discussion, yeah. I think. I like this guy. This guy started a thread where he basically said, "I stopped holding the door for women and I feel liberated." And it's
what? Okay.
Doesn't really fit the sub. It's kind of weird. And I'm not going to read his whole post, but you can kind of get the idea of it. For some reason, he felt like he was freeing himself by not holding the door for women at his gym anymore, because in his own experience, they never hold the door for anybody. Only the guys hold the doors. And so I shot a response back that only got one downvote, I'm assuming from him. And, and I've done this more often than not lately. And I tried to actually offer some real advice. I said, I'm being honest with you. It only feels liberating because you've got this toxic growth instead of dealing with it in your brain. And you've swept it out of sight. So it's still there, and you have this false sense of being liberated, because this again, this toxic growth that you've been harvesting, or not harvesting, but feeding into, is now something you're just ignoring. You didn't actually fix it, though. It's still there. You just have this weird sense that you've kind of felt liberated.
Right.
Because it's taken up too much space in your mind, and now you're ignoring it. So now it feels like you have a weight lifted, when in reality, you just moved the weight from one shoulder to your back.
Yeah.
It's still there. And it's something that I think you need to deal with because, it sounds like you obviously have some deeper seated issues towards women if that's really something that you're putting a lot of your mind
to.
It's like, listen, and I've tried to do that here and there, and of course, the question of who the fuck Ash comes up. But again, I've just reached a point where it's like, you know what, man, I feel like it's better to just go out there and say, you know what, maybe try to offer some help rather than just shitting on somebody. And and I got to dig into that was kind of fun because his username referenced a team in the AFC East. So I said, you'd think after Tom Brady shut the door on you dorks for 20 years, you'd be sympathetic to someone holding it one open. And, and of course I said, jokes aside, trying to like lighten the mood to start off things, but it's similar, it's like people just need, you just need to realize that people are far more real than you give them credit for. It's like, and everybody needs to stop pretending like you're interacting with an army of bots, even though there's plenty of them out there.
Right.
It's like, listen, just don't be a dick.
Yeah, I've said this before.
But
the cardinal rule is just be kind to people. Don't be an asshole. That's all.
Just put in what you want. It's the old karma rules, whether you believe in karma or not. I don't, but I still try to put in what I'd like to receive.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, if you're doing what you're doing the right thing because you need a reward, you're not a good person. Like, if you need a punishment because the only reason you're not doing it is because you're afraid of punishment for doing something wrong. You're a dog. You're an animal. Like, literally, you're just an animal, and
I mean, there's no harm in doing good for somebody, even if you're doing it for a slightly selfish reason. I think there's a whole philosophy discussion behind that we could have, because, like, for example, if you're like a big organization and you're looking for a tax write-off, so you give a big donation to a charity, it's like, yeah, there might not be some really tight ethical reason why you donated to a charity, but they still got a lot of money from you.
Right.
You both kind of won. They get a big charitable donation, you get your tax write-off, and even if you did it solely for the tax write-off, there's still something good that came out of that, and it's like, yeah, you could probably call that, you could easily call that, not probably, you could easily call that selfish,
right?
But again, it's not like there was nothing good that came out of that.
Yeah.
I think it depends. I think there's, like for example, everybody does nice things, with some, you can argue almost anything anybody does for just to be nice is selfish, because we all do most people do things like that to feel good about themselves, or, it's not always just because you genuinely care, or you just, you're doing something nice. It's like, no, most of the time you're doing something for a reason that benefits you, and that's not wrong. But anyways, now that we've done a nice 40-minute intro, I think it's not too bad though, because we got two topics that I think are kind of nice. I don't think they're going to take a huge amount of conversation.
Our openings are always 34
minutes. No, this might be the longest one.
Huh?
This might be the longest one. I think this is the longest one so far. But I have no problem getting a little bit beefy in the beginning, a little big and girthy. If we got something fun to talk about, and there was a lot to talk about. So the other two topics I think are pretty softball. These will be fun. So the first one, I'll introduce the first one, and I'll let you go ahead and introduce the next one. My idea for a segment was the comfy internet couch. And I like the idea of just discussing, where do we go online when you want to relax, when you just want to empty your brain, where you just look, where is the comfy pillow fort of the internet for you? Where do you find a nice little corner to sit in and just vibe? What is your comfy corner of the internet? And if it's something like YouTube or if it's Reddit, give us some details. What do you like to do there? What is your, I guess we'll call it kind of a guilty pleasure, but reality, just what is your comfy internet experience? Emma, when you are just looking to just veg, when you are just looking to just not do something that takes up too many brain cells, what do you do on the internet? What is your comfy internet corner?
Well, there's the obvious ones called, I think Reddit is my number one thing I'm going to go to. Just if I didn't want to be entertained or I'm bored or I'm looking for something specifically, I like going to Reddit. Like whenever I watch a show like House of the Dragon recently, I love going to the episode conversations, like post episode. That's like my favorite shit to do. That's what I used to do all in Game of Thrones too. Is just I live for those fucking comments. It's so goddamn funny. There's always just like some really great insights people have to share, and it's always hilarious. Um, that's always my favorite go-to. And then there's just some subreddits too that I really love. In particular, I can't think of them once right this second. I have to look. But like you named earlier, Pussy Pats Denied is funny. I like there's some subreddits where you can watch fights, and I like some of those. Or like, let's see,
like fight porn.
Yes, things like that. Like sometimes it's really good, and it just that's my guilty pleasure where it's like I shouldn't like watching those things. That shit is a little fucked up, but I do. It's the same reason why I like watching UFC. Like I want to watch people fucking fight and want to see who wins. God damn it. And
we are animals after all. There's nothing shameful about wanting to see a little physical competition.
Yeah, the other thing I like going to though, I've liked this for literally like 10 plus years at this point. It used to be called Stumble Upon, but now I guess it's called Mix. And it's literally just random pictures and random videos or articles from across the internet, and you just click one at random, just shuffles it, and you just find one at random and takes you to different places at random. So sometimes you'll be like my favorite things that there'll be pictures like nature landscapes all the way to like art installs, things like that, and it's just it's like Reddit basically, but on like roulette, and I just get to see look what one at a time. What about you, Brian? What are some of yours? I'm going to expand on those a little bit, but I figured I would want you to introduce yours are first.
Oh, listen, I do plenty of talking on my own. I'm gonna go ahead and deflect. Go ahead and give me like you're hanging out. You're not even just like a safe space, but like what is like. So like if you ever find yourself on Reddit, I know there's a bunch of places you go, but like let's say you even had a bad day. You're just looking for something that's just gonna chill you out, that's gonna relax you. Is it always Reddit? Is there anything else that you prefer to go to? Like
I don't usually go on the internet.
My answer is YouTube.
Yeah.
And my answer is YouTube, and I'll give some reasons why and specifically what I watch on YouTube. But I was curious,
Well, I think
anything further you do.
I think your question though is a little bit framed from the perspective of like your perspective of somebody like you spend so much of your time on the computer. So like you think that most people do, or at least I do. I don't spend that much time on my computer. Actually, I usually don't really use it for much. I like my go-to things like when I'm having a bad day and stuff like that are usually TV shows or movies, and I put something on, and I'll sit there and watch that, and then I'll play games while I watch it. Play games on my phone. That's really my little zen place. TikTok especially. TikTok is definitely.
I was gonna say, don't you have a couple thousand subs on there, and you're sitting here making fun of me, saying, "Oh, you're on the internet all day"? I see how it is.
I would just say that's a fact.
You son of a bitch.
I didn't say you're on there all day. I said a great deal of your time, but
I have already felt the sting of betrayal and insult.
I'm just saying I'm right and you're wrong. But yeah.
I mean, typical woman behavior.
I wasn't done listing them off. I mean, I can go in there like into detail. There's a whole lot of stuff I do. I just was like, we can talk about it one at a time because I have a shit ton of things that I do in that kind of situation. Because that's a lot of my days are spent feeling crappy, so I have to make sure that I have some way to, right the wrong. But TikTok I don't, read necessarily what's on TikTok. I do watch TikTok videos a lot. But the thing that I do is I record videos too when I'm feeling like I don't know, just feeling antsy, just want to connect with people, or whenever I just need an outlet for things. I'll do funny videos on my TikTok, which I haven't done in a while. I haven't done like the really funny ones like I used to do. But yeah, like those. My favorite thing about it is that like I have spent hours, days working on one TikTok and having absolutely nothing happen with it, which is fine because I'm not doing it just to get internet famous. I'm trying. I mean, that's kind of the goal. What is anyone on TikTok for? And you hope that your stuff goes viral because that's cool and fun and exciting. But like, for me, it's just I've always been a filmmaker and I've always made funny little videos and posted them online because that's just what I do. And a lot of them are sketch comedy, or a lot of them are just me being a dork, me being ADHD and coming up with. There's a whole series on my TikTok of when I had this whole day where I was dealing with the DMV and like the interlock device, because a number of years ago I got a DUI and I had to have an interlock device in my car for a year. No, for like 18 months actually. So like that was fun that I had to have that, but I was making calls trying to get that off my car, and I had to keep calling between the DMV and them. And I just like a 14-part documentary of me talking about it and making jokes. It was absolutely hilarious. I'm proud of it. But I do a lot of that. I'll post them on Instagram or Facebook. I don't know. That's Instagram. I post a lot. Well, not post a lot. I post here and there. Mostly pictures of my dogs. Like there's 6 dogs in this house and they're all adorable. So, but anyway. That's.
I was gonna say she contributes.
You haven't watched my TikToks. I don't think you watch my TikToks.
I don't have a TikTok account.
What?
I don't have a TikTok account.
Well, you don't have to have one to watch my account. You just download the app and go.
Yeah, I know. Oh, well, that's the problem right there. I ain't downloading that shit.
You can still watch my TikToks.
I ain't downloading that shit.
There's a couple of my Instagram. I used to post a lot of them on my Instagram, my old Instagram account, which I still can't get back into. But
listen, I ain't installing that Chinese spyware. I'm glad you're having fun on it, but I ain't installing that shit.
Well, for me, that's like I'm like, oh, I should just send you my TikToks as I make them, and make you watch them.
I mean, I'll just act like I'm watching them.
Hey, okay. Well, I'm fine then. Don't be supportive. That's cool.
See?
Don't be a supportive friend.
Already given
You're
up.
such a shitty friend, Brian. Why are you such a shitty friend to me? I didn't do anything. Didn't do anything to you.
Because you're loud and rude, and you make fun of my intros before I finish them.
I'm loud. I'm not rude.
You ruin my intros before I'm done with them.
I did not ruin it. That's just because your intro is bad.
See, and she calls me not supportive, but now she instantly turns around and just sprays diarrhea in my face, and now it's my fault.
Well, what are yours, man? What about you when you're? What about you when you're having a bad day?
I put up with you.
When you're having a bad day and you're having a rough time, what's your fucking thing that you go to?
I don't know what to do with you anymore. So my comfort zone is YouTube, and there's 2 specific types of videos that I really enjoy when I'm just bored or trying to unwind, and one of my favorite types of videos are creepypasta analysis videos.
Loser.
So I never said I was a winner. I don't know what made you think that. I've never said I was a winner.
I just felt like calling you a name.
I've lived my whole. I know you like calling me names because you go by that red pill negging people until they like you mentality, But I mean, I made it pretty clear that I already like you a lot as a friend. Get friend zoned, bitch.
Oh,
so, anyways,
you're upset about the friend zone,
creepypasta analysis. Yeah, you're in the friend zone, jackass. So creepypasta analysis videos are awesome because I love horror stuff just like you do, and there's this whole internet genre of horror, and a lot of it is really terrible, but there is some really good stuff in there. And like any horror, right? Most horror, a lot of horror movies are really bad, right? Or they're really lame, or they're cheesy, and it's like comedy. It's really subjective. Things that scare people are going to be very different, depending on who you are and where you're from. And I love watching videos that go into deep dives on internet horror. So I love channels like Nexpo, Nightmind, channels that go deep into things on like analog horror, which is so much fun. Like Gemini Home Entertainment is a mind fuck to go through. I actually have a YouTube playlist that I just have labeled as all timers, where I just have videos that I have no problem watching, multiple times because they're just fun. And my recent mild addiction on YouTube.
Mild, huh? Okay.
judge me. I didn't even say what it is yet. You don't even know what I'm gonna say yet. I'm just gonna give another.
Said mild.
I'm introducing.
I can already tell that it's not mild. That's all I'm saying.
Telling you, another intro ruined. Another intro.
Oh
ruined.
My God, keep going.
If I was a dentist, you wouldn't disrespect me.
I have the worst. I get guilt tripped so easily. Like, you're making me feel bad, and I have to remember, no, he's fucking with me on purpose. You fucking asshole. Because you know I'm so gullible. I'm gonna believe you.
Yeah. So the second one is, don't worry, I love you, don't worry.
Yeah, I love you too.
But my second one is police body cams. And I don't know why this has me so riveted, but there are a lot of channels that legitimately just upload body cam footage. And I'm going to start this off by saying I am such a proponent of body cam footage for both parties.
Yeah.
Because it keeps cops honest, and it keeps them protected at the same time, because the good cops will be protected. The bad cops should be getting caught, and they do get caught on these things. I actually saw a great one where some guy literally took like $1,000 off this guy and tried to hide it in his cruiser. And the guy who they had pulled up, and the guy who they had arrested was like, "Nah, this motherfucker has my money." And one of the other cops fished it out of the guy's cruiser and was just like, "Is this yours?" And it's like, oh, bro.
Oh, shit.
I don't know why. I just love the body cam videos. Because, again, not only is it as real as reality television gets, right? Just be honest. It's real raw shit. And, like I said, this isn't some back the blue shit or ACAB shit. It's just fascinating to me. Because, again, these are real people. These are real interactions. And, like I said, I'm a huge proponent of them. And any good cop should also be a proponent of them. Because when everything is documented, there's no he said, she said. If you are convinced you're in the right, then the camera should prove that. And I love the states, because not all of them have it as intricately. But, like, a lot of states have differing laws when it comes to their body cams. And in some places, it is, like, highly problematic for them to turn them off. Some places you can't turn them off. I think it's kind of outrageous that they have the ability in some places to turn them off themselves. I think that's something that they shouldn't be able to do. Like, I think it's literally something where the cop should not be able to turn that body cam off.
Yeah.
Just not. They can't do it.
Absolutely.
That should be something that comes down to, like, literally top supervisor, guy in charge of the whole department should only be the one able to do that. But anyway, I love that shit. And again, I don't know why, it's not some justice thing. I'm not sitting there being like, "Oh yeah, they arrested that guy," or anything like that. But
yeah.
like I said, maybe I think it's because I'm just so disillusioned by all the fake shit out there that the really raw, real shit is what's entertaining to me now, because everything just feels so fake and so layered and, like, photoshopped. But stuff like that is just unedited, and that's what's happening,
Yeah.
So I think that's why. But I love that shit. But we do have one more in here, since number 2 didn't take off so well, since, according to Emma, I'm the only one who spends a lot of time on the internet. My question is bad, so I'm gonna go cry.
Oh my God.
But go ahead and please.
I'm gonna fucking cut you. Slap you upside your head with a goddamn wrench.
Oh. Go on.
Ew. How is that supposed to be sexy? What are you, like, a dodge? You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Put me out of my
misery, please.
If you can dodge a wrench.
Listen, you're just
oh my.
You're just appealing to my depression. Please, go ahead. How are you going to kill me?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Like, oh.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a question. Number 3, go.
Okay, hold on,
I figured you would like this one. I think this is going to be a good one.
Okay, so I'm not going to read it, like, word for word. Like, why do we go to
Sure.
Why do we go to the movies? Like, what is it that... hold on a second.
I'll even phrase it the way I intended it, and I'll let you answer it first, if that makes... Because I wrote
I'm trying to find a more succinct way to put it, and I'm not very good at being concise, so I think that might be your area.
That's all right. That's all right. I wrote it, so I'll go ahead and preface it because I'll really get out what I was looking for, which is what I had written down for us today is what makes a movie worth seeing at release. I had written that what does it take to get you to see a movie when it comes out, and for me, what the question means, and I'm going to throw it to you first, is just what is it? Basically, what is it that causes you to go see a film? You know, is it just because it's part of like a big franchise? Is it because do you just go to the, like, some people, I think personally far less than usual, but some people just go to the movies just to see something. But I would like to know what would make you, and go ahead and give examples because I'm going to as well, any movies this year that let's just even say theoretically, because I know we're both broke ass sluts right now, but whatever's the rest of the year, I know Alien is already your big one. But what is it that gets you to go to the theaters, and what makes you go to the theaters? And what would get you to pre-order a ticket? Like, I could totally see you, for example, pre-ordering a ticket to Alien. But give me some insight. What was it, assuming money's not an option, what does it take to get you, not that it's not an option, but let's just assume you have working income. What would get you to go?
I mean, the first thing that I would say is, like, I used to work in a movie theater, not like at the theater. I used to do research out, talking to people as they left the theaters. And I can tell you right now, like, I'll go see a movie for no fucking reason. I'll see it because it's Tuesday. You know what I mean? But not so much anymore, especially because post-COVID, I haven't been in a theater in a staggeringly long amount of time. I can't even tell you the last movie I saw in the theater. It's been at least several years, at least maybe 3 or 4 years. And that's changing this summer, though, because of the things that are coming out. So it's actually a very opportune question you asked me. Because the things I'm going to go see, I'm not only a fucking course I'm seeing Aliens, a fucking course I'm going to have a pre-order ticket. Are you fucking kidding? Like, that, and like Star Wars or anything like that that's going to sell out immediately, I'm going to get a pre-order ticket. That's really the only time I'm going to buy an or pre-order ticket, though, is like if it's like, this is going to be a movie where I'm going to have to compete for tickets to go see it opening night for obvious reasons. My big thing, though, like, if I'm going to go see a theater, is, and I love seeing movies in the theater that are meant to be seen in the theater. Like, the only movie I've ever seen in IMAX, not the only one, but one of the few that I really remember was Mad Max Fury Road. And I can't begin to fucking tell you what a choice that was. Oh my God, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. That was the first time I saw it, too. I saw it with my ex Justin, and like we were both just like obsessed with it after we saw it. We could not stop talking about it. It was so fucking good. And one of the things, actually, random side note, I heard that was one of the coolest things to do if you just turned the color off on your TV, that you could basically watch it in black and white, and it's a totally different experience. And it is. It changes the tone of the movie completely. It's so crazy. But anyway, it's things like that I'm going to go see in the theater, because, I mean, that was, like, obviously Mad Max is part of a long-standing franchise, but there hadn't been a new movie in decades at that point. These new ones I'm going to see this summer, though, definitely Twisters. That's going to be immediately gone up there because Bill Paxton's in it. He's not in it, but if that's a Bill Paxton film, I'm going to go see that shit.
I was going to say he is not in it.
Unfortunately, and that's the travesty. Oh my God, that's the absolute catastrophe of living in this world, is time has to pass, and Bill Paxton is no longer with us. Never fear. Right after he died is when I got a puppy, though, so that's why I named him Bill Paxton. I had always been making jokes my entire life that I was going to get a dog and name him that, but I mostly meant it as a joke. But then after he died, it was like, well, obviously, like, that's when it's going to happen. So my dog's name is Bill. Bill Paxton. And his little ears just moved right now. He was like, "What the fuck do you want?"
Talking about your tornado chasing past.
What else? There's another one coming out. I'm totally spacing right now. There's another sequel / reboot or remake coming out. That's really exciting, and I can't. That's one of them. That's not the one. That one I'm excited for as fuck. That's one of those things I don't know. I might go see it in the theater, maybe. I don't know if that's one that. I don't know if that's one that.
I'm really nervous. What? I won't lie. After that trailer, I'm really nervous.
Yeah, I'm really nervous too. I have
high hopes. It looked really cheap in some places.
You should
it looked really cheap in some places, and I don't know how I feel yet. Like, I'm excited just because Michael Keaton is in it, and I have a feeling that, I mean, let's be honest, he's going to be the best part of the film. But, like, some of it looked really cheap. Like, I don't know what they were showing, but there was a part where there was, like, a plane, like, crashing into the ocean or something, and it looked like they made that in Windows Movie Maker XP. Like, I don't know where that was going. I don't know if, like, that better be a mock-up of a video game in universe, and that better not have been some real attempt at, like, footage, because I saw that, and I remember recoiling physically and just being like, ugh. I was like, what the hell was that? I was like, every time Keaton's on screen, has been great. All the other characters look like they're kind of just mailing it in, but I'm nervous, but I'm gonna see it because I'm a sucker and I love Beetlejuice.
Yeah, same. Like, that's when I'm really excited. It's not one of the ones I was thinking about. I'm looking right now. I'm looking it up and seeing what other movies are coming out this summer.
Deadpool 3.
2024 movies. I know there's. Deadpool that's 3. It. That's the one that I was thinking of. Deadpool and
Wolverine.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. That's definitely one that I'm going to go see in theaters because, again, it's not. Basically, it's the movies I really love that I'm going to go see. That, like, I'm going to take that time.
So you want to know a fun fact about that film? It is the only Marvel film coming out this year.
It's the only Marvel film coming out this year?
Yep. It's the first time, I want to say, in like 10 years where there's only been one Marvel film.
Well, that's probably a wise choice, though, because it's the only one that's going to fucking really matter.
Oh, I mean, Marvel, we could literally sit here and talk for hours about Marvel and how much they're tanking. Did you see? And about how there's so much superhero burnout. But
I was like, that's awesome. I'm fucking, the trailer has me so amped. Like, every time I watch it, I'm like, it's just going to be so great. I just can't imagine the jokes.
I think the best thing Marvel...
No, I didn't have anything. I was saying, I can't imagine the jokes that are going to happen. Just go ahead.
And I think the best... There's really only two things that have stayed consistently good throughout their runs in Marvel, and that's been Guardians of the Galaxy and Deadpool. Yeah. And I think the third one is going to be just fantastic. And I have very little hopes for most Marvel things. And that's one of the few things where I'm like, nah, Deadpool 3 is going to be a riot. Because Ryan Reynolds has been the lifeblood of those movies. And if they didn't have a guy that loved that character so fucking much, these movies might not have been as good. Because, for example, and yes, I'm going to pick on She-Hulk. But the lady that they got to play She-Hulk, right? She-Hulk is another character that breaks the fourth wall.
I couldn't watch that show.
And is another character that is another character that has like that kind of Deadpool edge to her where she kind of talks to the audience. And so she's kind of a fun character. And they made her so insufferable. And it's like, it makes you realize that like having someone like a Ryan Reynolds has got to be just a dream for someone making these films, because it's like the dude loves making these films and he wants to make these films, and they're printing money every time we make them. So it's like, dude, this is legitimately like a best case scenario. It's like we have a guy that loves the character. It's like having Keanu in John Wick. He likes the character. He wants to play the character. They're making buku dollars every time they're out. Awesome.
Right.
You know? But no, Deadpool, Wolverine, definitely ones that I have on my list. Long Legs is one of the ones that I'm excited to see.
Yeah, that one looks really good too. It looks really creepy.
See, that's why I want to see it, because I don't know if it looks good. It's really perplexing. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And like that's what's got me intrigued, because first I heard about it because it's got Nick Cage in it. It's like, okay, great. It's going to be a disaster or it's going to be a masterpiece, because that's how Nick Cage movies go. But then I heard that it's like he's not like, it doesn't seem like he's a main character. It seems like he might even be like a sub-character. But like the trailer is so fucking weird and nonsensical, and like it's a horror movie that seems to focus more on the horror rather than just gore, which, as those of you who know me know I literally I hate movies that the whole horror is just gore, because I don't think those are horror movies. I don't genuinely like Saw. I don't think is a horror. The first one, sure, maybe even some of the other ones, but like they're just gore porn. And you know what? That's fine if you like those films. I'm really not. I'll take it back a little bit. I'm not going to totally shit on you liking the movie, but it's not horror to me, you know. But Longlegs looks great because it looks like it might be a little more psychedelic. It might be a little bit more playing with your head.
Yeah.
And I love anything that is more mentally kind of thing. I am so excited for Joker 2.
Joker 2?
It's called Folie à Deux, which I believe means shared madness in French, or something similar.
Folie à Deux. It means crazy love.
It has... I think it means shared madness or madness of two, because the idea... Yeah, because Lady Gaga is playing Harley Quinn, and
I didn't know Lady Gaga was doing
everybody
that.
Everybody keeps calling it a musical.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, if you haven't seen the trailer is actually beautiful. Like, it's a fantastic trailer, and there's a shot at the end of it that gave me chills, and I was like, it was so perfect. I'm gonna show you the trailer after we finish the episode, because like you gotta see it. I haven't seen it. It's great. I'll stream it to you. We gotta watch it because it looks great. But it looks like it's basically gonna be, Joker discovers, his other half. It looks like it's gonna be more of an actual love story where like him and Harley fall in love, rather than the original story of Joker finding someone to abuse and then abusing her, which is basically her real origin story. This looks like it's going to be more of like they're both nuts. They both meet each other and realize that their nuts match each other, and hence the title. They kind of just work together as a pair of actual nuts. But it looks great. And that's part of my answer, is that I really need to be compelled, because like you said, there's movies that I really felt the need to see because of their audacity. Right? If it's something like Interstellar, which I missed out on, but I'm so going to see when it comes in September for the 10th anniversary. Mm-hmm. Like, I've seen 300 in IMAX. I saw Gravity in IMAX. Like, those, like, movies that feel more grandiose, that I'll 100% see those in IMAX. But so many films, like, I just don't see the need. And I think one of the biggest problems is that so many films come out that aren't in theaters, right? There's so many streaming services where stuff comes out either immediately or it just doesn't come out to theaters. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really interested in Joker 2. But the sequel to it looks pretty fantastic. I thought the first one was wonderful, but I was just mentioning how I really need to be compelled to go to the movies, because like I really love going to the movies, and I'm really one of those guys that would totally go just because I'm bored. If I had an extra $20 to go see a movie, I'm 100% going to go.
Yeah.
Even if it's something I'm not super intrigued to see. But nowadays, it's like...
There's so many bad movies that come out and so many good ones, though. But it's few and far in between.
Not even just so many bad ones, but so much good entertainment is TV form now.
Yeah.
A lot of the best entertainment is in show format. It's interesting, because obviously you and I and others have lived through these, have grown up in times of the blockbuster, and we might have seen the end of it, because I mean, you get like one or two of them, but I mean, you remember growing up, it was like blockbuster after blockbuster every summer. They would just be big summer movies, and they would all kill, and they weren't necessarily good. They were just summer blockbusters. And now they don't make those as much anymore.
No.
Everything has to be like a fucking sequel. Everything has to be a remake. So many like theaters. It's funny. I forget. It might have been a Red Letter Media point. I forget who said it first, but the death of the $30 million movie is so real.
Oh, yeah.
It's like every movie seems to need to cost like $150 million plus. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
It's like you can make, it's like you don't need to put that kind of money in a movie to make it succeed. But the thing is, in America anyways, all these production companies, that's what they think they need to spend. And it's like, how much are you guys going to, I mean, especially Disney nowadays, It's like, how many times are you guys going to get burned before you just sit there and say, maybe we should scale some of this back a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everything that they make nowadays, it's got to be like, they have to be able to make money on it. They have to be like, and then basically, and the theater showings are just going down until like constantly people aren't going to the theater anymore. Like literally, we could see the end of this era where people end up going to theaters. They're gonna have to start closing down.
I mean, and I mean, again, the whole point of a film is obviously to make money in some respect, right?
Right.
You can obviously, there should be some love and some art involved in that, but ultimately, everyone wants to get paid, right? You are still doing a job, so obviously you want to make money.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, more the fact of like, you produce a movie for like $20-30 million and you make $100 million. What's wrong with that? And that's a thing that has gone away now. Like a lot of these big companies anyways, these big film production companies, they only want known IPs. They only want things that they can, this has always been a thing. It's not new, but now it seems to be like the sole reason that movies get made is they need to be established IPs. They need to be things that they can just draw into universes. And it's like, listen, just because Marvel did a universe doesn't mean you all need to do it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, everyone that has tried has failed.
Yeah.
And I think it's hilarious to see all of them fail as gloriously as they do.
It's like you're not
Marvel.
Like
Go ahead.
They want to find the same kind of fucking success that Marvel movies have done, and they're just not gonna. That's the thing, is that they think that there's going to be they're going to invent a new franchise and it's going to come out. Like, we need that. We need new things that are going to create new franchises, but it's just an absolute, like, for me, it feels like the whole world is in a depression right now. Like, where it just feels like everything, like, we have literally a depression in terms of our fucking, the
creativity.
Yeah, that, but also, I mean, monetarily, in every aspect in the world, like politics, all the way to art right now, it just feels like we're all in this funk where we can't come up with anything original. We can't come up with anything new. Where everything is just repeated because like we're trying to relive the old days over and over and over again, and it's not working. Like, at some point, somebody's got to give.
See, and I agree with that. I definitely think that there is too much of a reliance on the member berries and on nostalgia. But I also think, to your other point, the real thing is there's been a real, not depression, but a real, I don't know what the word I want to use.
Downwards, like.
No, there's just been with the concept of movies needing to cost so much money. There is a serious lack of creative and unique projects, in Hollywood. And like I said, I think that's kind of what I was getting at too with the small budget or the mid budget movie, is that studios don't like taking risks. They don't like going after those because they want a guaranteed return, on their investment. And it's hilarious how often that has failed. Indiana Jones 5 was a pretty good example of that. Like, nobody wanted this film. Everyone was already pretty turned off by Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, even though it made money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know how you didn't read the writing on the wall and see that people don't want to see Indiana Jones, who they love, who's from their childhood, as a decrepit, whiny, winded old man, get constantly outclassed by the younger character that you're trying to sell us on, who is getting her own show based in the same universe. And it's like, people don't want that.
No, and
it's like,
what question is, what do they want? Like, what's going to be our next move into, like, in terms of genre or trend? Like, I don't know what that's going to be, but at the same time, and like, this better be something good, because, like I said, every aspect of the world right now, it's like, there's just, it's all a downer. And the thing is, now, I'm not going to bitch here about getting another Aliens movie. Do not get me wrong. Like, there's some of these movies that I'm, like, happy to see get remade. I think that just maybe we need to start reassessing what movies we're going to remake and what to reboot. And I think we talked about this a little bit, like, last episode or something, or the episode before, where we were talking about.
But that's the thing. That shouldn't even be the topic. It's like we're always going to get remakes, right? We're always going to get nostalgia. It's literally it's always going to be a thing. But there needs to be far more encouragement on unique, weird, fun, like, little movies. And it's like, like, even though it wasn't a little movie, like, Everything Everywhere All at Once was a wonderfully weird, goofy, like, crazy concept of a movie. And that was a fun movie. And it was a perfect example of the script is batshit insane. Let's see what we can do, you know?
Right.
And if you haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, it is a trip. And I will spoil it by saying it is a sci-fi nonsense kind of plot.
Okay.
You might not think that immediately upon seeing like a movie poster or whatnot, but it is a sci-fi time traveling, universe hopping, etc. Like it is a clown show, but it's a clown show in all the best ways. And it might take 2 watchings to get it, but I don't think so. And it's a fun movie, and again, it's not super original, but it is pretty nutty. And there's enough going on where it's like, this is why I go to the movie theaters. This was genuinely fun. It was fun. It was scary at times. It was heart-wrenching. It had soft moments. It had teary moments. It had all of it. And it was absurd as hell. And it was just like, this is the kind of stuff I wish you'd see more of, you know? And unfortunately, again, I think there's so many studios that are so afraid. It's funny. There's so many studios that are so afraid to put any money towards things that are not established. And then you have things like Blumhouse where they just shit out everything, or Netflix. They give everybody money.
Yeah.
And the amount of absolute putrid trash that gets shit out by Netflix on a daily basis is amazing. Like, there was a recent one with Millie Bobby Brown.
I think it's important.
That was the most... There was one from Netflix recently that was called... I forget what it was called, but it had Millie Bobby Brown in it. And it was the most putrid, on-the-nose girl power movie. And it's just like, oh my God. Like, this, it's the kind of movie that, like, that even the feminists would roll their eyes and just go, come on, man.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, she got left to be eaten by a dragon. Then it turns out the dragon is a lady, and she also doesn't like the patriarchy. And it's
my God.
Oh no.
There's so much,
and it's like
there's so much on Netflix that's shit, but I feel like it's important because at least that's you know.
Oh sure.
At least it's a fucking groundbreaking in some ways.
At least they're taking risks.
Exactly. That's my point. At
least they're giving money to people. And if they could have an endless supply of money, I would be grateful, because eventually you're going to get another Stranger Things. You're going to get another, you know, because Stranger Things was passed on by a lot of studios.
Oh, yeah.
Until Netflix said, sure, we'll take it. I mean, Fox wanted to turn it into a crime drama. And it was like, Jesus Christ, thank God you didn't give the script to them.
Yeah.
You know, so like, but yeah, it would be just great if we got to see more, you know, like, if we got to see more creative stuff. The only other thing I had listed for this section in terms of like a movie that I would see this summer is another example of, I think, why people are just not going to the movies. Because one of the films that's coming out that I have on my list, I have purely as a hate watch film. Because it's based on an IP that I adore. I love the IP that it's based on. And the way I would describe the trailer is a pot of boiling grundle shavings.
Oh, Jesus.
It is vile. It is horrendous, and I cannot believe the amount of time it took them to make the film, and it's gonna be laughed at violently. And that's the Borderlands movie.
Oh, yeah.
It looks horrendous.
It's gonna be, I think it looks pretty bad.
I mean, none of, like, Cate Blanchett is the only one who seems even remotely like her character in game. Everybody else is so miscast that it's kind of impressive.
Really?
Like, it's, like, they have Jamie Lee Curtis in that film, who is way beyond the talent needed for a Borderlands film.
Yeah.
And she's playing this crazed doctor, which, on the surface, she's not a terrible casting choice. But when you see the trailer, and you see the stoic leader of the group, Roland, being played by Kevin Hart, It's just like, oh, this is not going to be good, is it? And it's like, no,
it's not.
No, it's not. It's going to be yet another installment in the long-running tradition of shit-blasted video game movies.
Yep.
Which, not to add to the pain, they have just announced another Resident Evil film, and yes, Netflix is getting another shot at a Resident Evil show.
Oh my god.
Why?
I don't. We're done. It's like it's over at this point. Just let it die. I can't.
I mean, you really have to realize that Paul Anderson's Resident Evil movies were the best.
Yep.
We've got nothing better. We've got nothing better since the Paul Anderson films. And it's like, I think I'd rather just Paul Anderson casting his wife again in another film where she's a superhero and he gets to put her naked.
Yep.
Let's just do that again.
Yeah.
Because Resident Evil is
it's bad.
I mean, and the Netflix show, oh my, I read the synopsis. It sounds just as bad as the other Netflix show. And it's like, why do you keep doing this to me? It's like, you literally could just do the first game. Just copy it word for word. Just make a show out of it.
Yep.
It would be so much better than anything else that you've done so far. But no.
Anyway, I mean, I think video game movies are... Has there really ever been one that was, like, extraordinary? Which one?
Sonic.
Oh, yeah.
Sonic was really
it was like,
good.
It was eh.
It was... But here's the deal. Video game movies have always been hot dumpster juice. They have always been bad.
Mm-hmm.
They've never been good. And every once in a while, we've gotten one that was kind of okay. Like the very first Resident Evil that Paul Anderson did was kind of fun. It wasn't great, but it was okay. It was, it was what it was. It wasn't great, but it was entertaining. The other one I would probably say, Silent Hill. Silent Hill got a great movie.
Really?
The second one, funny enough, might be one of the worst films we've ever seen put in a theater. But the first one was pretty good. And it was
the one with Sean
creepy.
Bean?
And it was gory. Yes.
Yeah, I like that one.
It was good. That's based on a game.
Yeah, that's right.
They took story points from Silent Hill 1 and 2, and they made their own movie out of it. So it's based in the Silent Hill universe. It's kind of loosely based on some Silent Hill story points, and it was good. And they even brought in the original composer, so the tone feels right.
Right.
They just did a really good job with it. I still think Sonic is the best one because it was funny, it was true to the character, it was lighthearted, and they just tried to make... And Jim Carrey was outstanding as Robotnik. I loved Jim Carrey as Robotnik.
Oh, I do. That was a great fucking role with him. It was so... It was absolutely iconic once again, and I was just like, yeah, this is absolutely a Jim Carrey role. Like, they made an excellent choice.
Yeah. And a lot of video game movies are terrible. So, like, when I say Sonic was phenomenal, it's almost the Citizen Kane of fucking video game movies, just to give a comparison, because they've always been bad.
Like in comparison,
like even the 1995 Mortal Kombat film is pretty shit, but it was still really fun.
Right.
Like that was just fun. It was pretty bad, but Silent Hill probably is the best one.
Yeah.
But Sonic, I think Sonic was just really good. And I'm not gonna lie, Detective Pikachu wasn't too bad.
Detective Pikachu was good, but that wasn't necessarily based on a video game, because it was the Pokemon was like it's a whole card game, it's a whole TV series, obviously, but it's like, there are other things besides just the Pokemon video games, is my point.
Oh, I mean, sure, but again, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
I liked it. I thought it was very cute.
I have seen some pretty awful takes. Like some pretty awful takes.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a list that put Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City as the second best. And
no.
I've never been more disgusted in my life.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
And it's just like, oh dear Jesus. That was horrendous. And there's some that I haven't seen, like Gran Turismo got a movie that some people liked.
I haven't seen that one. With David Harbour.
There's Yep, and then there's the Street Fighter movie from '94, which has, everyone's favorite, Raul Julia, and his final role in film. Really cheesy, but it was a lot of fun. There was Actually, I completely forgot about this one. Tomb Raider. The very first Tomb Raider movie with what's her face?
Angelina Jolie.
The lady who keeps adopting all the African kids. Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie, yes.
Yeah. That wasn't that bad. I actually really kind of liked. I might even like the second one a little bit more. Not gonna lie.
I liked the first one. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's the most I can say about it, though. It's like I don't really have a review of it. It was just like, all right. It worked, sort of.
Yeah. And again, there's plenty of them that have been bad. There's plenty of them
Prince
that have
of
been
Persia,
really bad.
Catwoman.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. The new Mortal Kombat film was close to being a good film. I really enjoyed some of the stuff they did with the new Mortal Kombat film.
Mm-hmm.
Some. I mean, you can just see in the trailer, fucking Sub-Zero stabs Scorpion. Blood shoots out of his back. He freezes the blood into a knife and stabs him again. And it's like, okay, that's the kind of shit you got to do.
Yeah.
Because
that's Mortal Kombat.
That's entertaining. But it was just meh.
Yeah.
It was okay, but it was just meh.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, but then you think of stuff like Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking video game movies have been bad.
Yes, they have been. Oh, dear Christ.
They've been bad.
The fucking worst movies I've seen are all video game movies. I didn't see Assassin's Creed. I was like, you're not going to ruin this for me. Like, yeah, I'm not even going to go see it. Bad. We already know what the fuck. Listen.
Yeah. And if we could include TV shows, arguably, the winner is League of Legends, because Arcane is
I haven't seen that. I haven't watched that show.
And I know you haven't, so I won't spoil a whole lot of it, but let me put it this way. If we opened this up to TV shows, the number one of all time based on a video game would be Arcane. Then there'd be about 700 blank spaces, and then there would be one of the movies we just talked about.
Yeah. Arcane
is so good. It's so insanely good. And yeah, it's unbelievable. I've heard, I haven't seen it, and I won't lie, I'm probably never going to see it because I'm just not interested in the series in general. I know a lot of people like The Last of Us, so that's another one that would probably end up near the top of the list.
Love Last of Us so fucking much.
Yep, I know a lot of people really liked it, so, I won't take shots at it or be whiny about it because I haven't seen it, and I probably won't because, again, it's just not my...
Yeah, I get it.
It's funny. I love survival games.
I love zombie games.
But I do too. But I just never got into the game series, and I never really cared a whole ton for it. I'm not gonna lie. But listen, if Angry Birds can get a fucking movie, hopefully we'll see a much better fucking video game movie at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, for the love of God, an Angry Birds movie.
I know that's oh my God! Thank you for reminding me that exists. Ew.
Angry Birds.
I haven't. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch that. I haven't seen any of them, and I'm just like I already go like when I start hearing it, and remind me that movie exists.
I won't lie. I enjoyed the Super Mario Brothers movie. I don't think I would call it the best, but it was okay. I thought it was entertaining. It made a fuckload of money. It made so much money.
Yeah.
Like, the same... I'm interested because the same company, not DreamWorks, Illumination.
Oh, yeah.
They made the Mario movie for $100 million, and the worldwide box office was $1.3 billion. So it killed.
Yeah.
The Mario movie killed.
I haven't seen it yet either.
It was genuinely well received.
I've heard it's good.
it was genuinely well received. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cute. You know, it did its thing. I still don't think it's a very good. I still don't think it's in my. It might be in my top 5 game movies. But it wasn't bad. It was okay.
See, we're still doing top 5. But at some point, we got to do top 5 again. I think my friend Nick, whenever we have someone come help co-host with us, we could do that then. There's like a top 3 rather.
Yeah. We'll definitely get it back. We'll definitely bring it back again. We got some rotating segments we're gonna bring in and out. I know we liked our Reddit one for a couple episodes there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll definitely bring it in. But I'm interested because the same company that did Super Mario Brothers got the contract from Nintendo, obviously because of how good this film did, for Zelda. So they are going to not only be making a sequel to the Mario film, but they are getting the rights to Zelda, which is also going to be made into an animated film.
That's kind of cool.
I kind of hope that they're not doing Breath of the Wild. I hope they're doing like the Super Nintendo Zelda.
I hope they're doing Ocarina of Time or Link to the Past.
Link to the Past, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see them do Link to the Past. Like a more cutesy style. It doesn't need to be like super serious. Like, just, that would be great. But no, it was alright. So, but yeah, now that we've completely deviated from the script.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
Still movies. But, you know, yeah, it takes, I think nowadays, just because of how much it costs, it takes more to get people to the theaters.
Absolutely.
And like, there's not even a guarantee that I get to the theaters to see Beetlejuice or Longlegs. They're just ones that I would like to see.
Right.
Chances are I'm gonna end up missing one of them.
Exactly.
The only one I think I really, really am dying to see is the second Joker. I really don't feel like waiting for that one.
Yeah, that one, and for me, Twister and Alien, I'm not waiting for shit.
Yeah.
I'm seeing those immediately the day they come out.
Yeah. And I would like to say the same thing about Twister, but hey, I'm gonna wait.
You're gonna be able to make fun of it.
I'm gonna wait. I don't want to make fun of it, but it's just, you know, like you said, there's no Bill Paxton. Who knows if there's? I'm sure they're gonna try to feed some kind of member berry. There's gonna be somebody who makes a cameo, right?
Right.
But a couple of the memorable characters are dead. So like, you know, there's not so many people you could bring back for a cameo. And that movie was such a weird success anyways. It was such a weird movie that became such a cult movie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I've always been fascinated by how people just fell in love with Twister and how it became like, it really did become like a cult classic.
It did. I mean, it's so good. Those movies are fucking perfect. They're absolutely perfect, exactly the way they are. I wouldn't change a thing.
Movies? You mean movie?
Movies. Well, movie. Sorry, I haven't seen this. I got the next one yet.
I was gonna say, have you seen another one that I don't know about?
Nope. Oh my god.
She's like, I made up one in my head. I like that one too.
That's exactly something I should do that. I've literally thought about writing my own script for a sequel at several different points, but I decided to
do it. Why not? Do it as an exercise.
No, I'm not gonna spend my time writing a feature. That would just be for me, because I'm writing a TV show right now that's actually one of the coolest. I never used to get excited in my own ideas. I get excited because I was passionate about what I was doing, but never have I geeked out at my own idea, like in a sci-fi nerd kind of way, which is exactly what I've been doing with my script. So like that's kind of where my main focus is. But I would love at some point. I've thought about several ideas of how they would have a sequel, and it was easy. Like you just have Bill and Joe's kid, as the protagonist, which I have a suspicion that one of these kids is going to be. And like Dad is dead. Like Helen Hunt might be in it. Who knows? If that's not it, it's just completely separate from those movies. That's going to make me go, this is a bad movie. Because why are you calling it Twisters if it's not related in some way to the first film?
Because there's more than one now. We saw Alien and then Aliens and said, hey guys, that's a cool idea. Let's do the same thing. The first one was called Twister. Now it's Twisters.
Twisters. My friend photoshopped
just like A minor.
A minor.
Twister.
Oh my god. I'm that movie. I'm very hesitant. I'm like, I think it's gonna suck. We'll that's my immediate expectation. So if it sucked, it won't disappoint me. But Alien, Oh, if that one sucks, if that one sucks, you're gonna have to talk me off the ledge for like 2 weeks. I swear to God, because it's the first Alien movie that I have genuinely been this amped for, and I'm trying so hard to limit myself and like just tell myself, okay, I'm gonna relax, don't put too much weight on the movie. You know, I'm hyping it up too much.
I personally just like to remind myself how disappointing Covenant was.
Yeah.
And I like to remind myself that, listen, just remember what that was, temper expectations, and you can only be surprised.
Well, the trailer by itself has been, just the shots they get and what they've done with the aliens is fucking killing me. I was like, this is brilliant. This is something that's not been done before. And so I swear.
And you know what? All I was gonna say is what I would love to do, and this is something I have penned in as a possible topic for us as well. I would love, and I think we're gonna do it at some point, talk about our favorite trailers, because they really do have an effect, especially in the last 10 years with social media being what it is. They really make or break a film.
Absolutely.
And obviously, it's not just now that that's the case, but I think it's more than ever because so many people consume trailers nowadays in multiple forms. And it's not just seeing them at the theaters, you know, it's seeing them in between TV shows, it's seeing them in between ads on online. And like you said, it's one of those things that like right there, the trailer for Alien Romulus has you set at a level of hype that you're even afraid to kind of be at because it looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the trailer does the work for the movie. And sometimes the trailer dooms it. You know, it just depends on it really is an art form. Yeah,
it really is.
It really is an art form of an editor or editing team, obviously. Not just one person, but it really is like it's incredible how much a trailer can fuck a movie.
Absolutely.
Or how much it could also just spurn it on. Like, Snakes on a Plane's a great example. That trailer was wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
And it immediately just made you say, what the fuck am I even watching? And you were instantly just like, okay, I'm going to remember this because not only is this really stupid, but this is just a fucking acid trip. I don't know what's going on, but Sam Jackson is yelling. People are getting bit in the dick. I need to figure out what's going on.
Exactly. And that movie is one of those examples of movies that, like, God, it was so good. It's such a good movie, and that's the irony of it. Because whoever's idea was for that film, it was genius. The marketing was genius as well. What were you saying?
My favorite review of that movie was a film student who I was roommates with in college, because I was really young and in college when that movie came out, because we're old now.
Mm-hmm.
And he was my housemate. He was a little bit, you know, kind of like all film students, a little bit stuck up, but I valued his opinion, you know, so he went and he saw it with his buddy. And when he came back, I was like, you know, so what did you think? And he said, I was disappointed that it wasn't so bad it was good. It was actually just kind of good.
Yep.
You know, and it was and when I saw it, I was like, I agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think that it's going to be awful, and like it's low key, it's just kind of fun. It's not Die Hard, but it's just kind of fun.
Yeah.
And it's a low key, like,
that's all it has
pretty
to be.
Decent little terrorist plot.
Not every film has to be an Oscar winner to be good. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, hopefully not, because Oscar winners tend to suck.
No shit.
Anyway. Not always, but you know how. Listen, Speed won an Oscar, so sometimes they're good.
That's true. Oh my God.
Mike and I had a fun conversation the other day talking about, or the other month. It was like a month ago. We were talking about weird Oscar winners, where it's like we had to guess. You know, I was reading off movies to him, and I was like, "Go ahead, Mike. Tell me which movie out of these so many has like an Oscar," and he would just be like, "Wait, no, it doesn't." And then there'd be some that were really funny, like I think it was Schindler's List has 0.
Wait, what? I don't think
that's right. I'm almost certain
that
Schindler's List never got an Oscar.
That can't be right. There's no way. I think he won for Best Director.
Fairly certain. If not, no, is it not Schindler's List? I'm thinking of another one. No, it's not Schindler's List.
Yeah, I was gonna go. Well, that's ridiculous.
Which one? No, not Schindler's List. Which one is it? There was one.
The Green Mile?
No, not the Green Mile. Which one was it? Wow, I'm gonna completely blank now. Not Schindler's List. I think it was another fucking Hitler is Evil movie / like Holocaust type movie. I think.
Mm-hmm. The boy who in the striped pajamas or something.
No. You know what? It might be Shawshank Redemption.
I still haven't seen that movie.
I don't think it won I think it got nominated for like a bunch and didn't win a single one.
That would be.
And it's one of those films that people constantly talk about being like one of the best.
Yeah, I was just that was one of those things when I went on a date last week. He was like furious with me because I hadn't seen it. Shawshank Redemption.
Yes, it was this one, not Schindler's List. It was this one. It was Shawshank Redemption. It got nominated for 7 Academy Awards, which is the most a Stephen King film has ever been nominated for, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Film Editing, Sound, and Score, and it lost every category.
Jesus, against who?
And it's one of those movies that people constantly mention as like one of the best King movies, and if not one of the best
movies,
just
period.
Overall drama movies of all time.
Yep.
But no, Green Mile, I'm pretty sure at least won a few.
I think Michael Clark Duncan won for that. I'm pretty sure I remember that.
No, he got screwed.
Did I can't remember. I would have to look it up. If
he got. I'm pretty sure he got robbed.
If he got fucked, that's absolutely bullshit. He should have won that hands down.
I think it's one of those. Yeah, he was up for actor in a supporting role and lost.
Who did he fucking lose to?
Best actor in a supporting role. I think that was 95. Let's do some super fast Googling here. That would have been. Where is it? That would have been 95. Is it 95?
Actor.
No, not 95.
Best actor winner.
No. He was supporting actor.
Oh, okay.
He was supporting actor. No, he's in there. Yep, Michael Clark Duncan, 99, not 95.
99.
He was up for it, and he lost to Michael Caine in The Cider House Rules.
Oh my god. Are you fucking serious? That's such bullshit. That movie is garbage.
Listen. The Academy Awards are worth nothing, and no one will convince me otherwise.
Oh yeah, they're not.
Legitimately just the industry jerking itself off.
Yep.
It's like
I still love the Oscars. I still watch them.
They have some weight.
Like I watch them every year.
It's like they obviously, yeah. It's like listen, they obviously have some weight, but it's like ultimately it's just the industry jacking itself. So it's like I mean, for Christ's sakes, Interstellar lost best soundtrack to fucking Grand Budapest Hotel, which nobody remembers. So like,
I do remember
plenty of cases. There's plenty of cases of things that won that you just go, no, it didn't, and then you go back and look, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ, no, it didn't.
Well, anyway,
but yeah, Clark Duncan lost that.
That's fucking bullshit.
But it was nominated for 4 Academy Awards, and it lost all categories, including Best Picture, Screenplay, and Sound.
That's some bullshit.
And Green Mile is one of my favorite films.
Oh yeah, that's one of those instant cries. It's one if I see it on TV, I instantly put it on. But also at the same time, depending where it is, I'll turn it right back off because I'm like, I don't feel like crying right now. I did not sign my permission slip for this field trip. No, thank you.
But yeah, so I think that's about all we got today. We completely ruined that last question. I figured that would go on for a while. So
yeah, well, whatever. We had plenty
got
to
a lot of mileage.
No one's keeping track anymore. Everyone who watches this is ADHD too, even if they don't.
Listen, I think you're just projecting.
I think your mom's projecting. Oh.
And see, right there. See the deflection? Definitely projecting.
Fucking got him. Got him. Got him. Anyway.
Hang on, let me just make a quick breathing noise and completely throw you off.
It does sometimes.
Wait, what was I talking about?
Hey! I get so self-conscious when that happens, dude. I hate that. I get so embarrassed. Because it's my ADHD. I hate it.
You going... It's because your brain's going a mile a minute, and I forget that sometimes. So I try to stop myself, like, shit, I'm gonna throw it. Okay, I'm gonna share one more thing that I thought was spicy and hilarious. I'm gonna bring it all the way back to the start of the conversation where we talked about the debate.
Yes.
some absolute fucking psychopath, and I hope this guy gets arrested. I hope somebody finds this guy.
Okay.
Some guy decided to post on Reddit a picture of him from his point of view of him watching the debate. And I say his point of view because in the foreground is him holding a woman's head down, meaning this guy is getting a blowjob in the middle of the debate.
Jesus.
And I'm sitting there going, I need to know one thing. How are you maintaining a suckable erection while watching that travesty? Like,
maybe because he likes, maybe he's a sadist.
Because she's got something. She's like, listen, your girlfriend's got something else to pay attention to, thank God, so she can distract herself. But you, listen, I'm just gonna speak as a guy here.
Yeah, no, that's not.
I don't know. I don't know how warm or tight that mouth needs to be, but there is nothing.
Jeez, yeah, there's nothing that would have kept.
There is nothing that would keep me afloat, quote unquote.
Maybe just paying full attention.
Debate.
Just paying full attention to the girl. That's really funny that he did that though. Like, and she did. Oh my God. That's so gross. That's like gross.
I saw it. And it was just like one of the top comments was, well, at least that dick and asshole didn't disappoint as much as the ones on TV. And it's just like, dude,
yeah.
Another great one. Fuck me like the two-party system fucks America, baby.
It's not funny.
And it's like, I just want you. I want you to talk to it. The next time you talk to your therapist, just openly admit that you came during the presidential debate and just see where that conversation takes you.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ.
You're getting diagnosed with something.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God. Anyway, we're going to wrap this episode up right now because fuck that conversation. I don't even like that conversation.
That's a hilarious conversation.
I'm having to think. You're making me think about it too much now. I'm going, ew, 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 ew.
Well, that's because you're thinking of one of them being sexually active. All you need to remember is that no, this is about somebody else managing to get their rocks off while two fucking skin bags mimicking human speech are on TV.
Ew.
And it's like this would be like the equivalent of putting on QVC and trying to keep it up. It's like it's like, listen, man, I don't know. I don't know what's doing it for you, but you're a braver man than me, I guess.
Yeah.
Guy must be in his early 20s to be able to keep that kind of endurance.
Yeah, I was literally about to say, it's Viagra. That's your answer right there, Viagra. That's all it really takes.
It's either Viagra or those 23-year-old hormones.
Oh, gross.
What do you mean gross? That's literally what it is. They're either too young to not
gross
be able to get it up.
I was saying gross about a 23-year-old. That's I don't really...
Listen, just because you're an old lady doesn't mean that 23-year-olds are gross all of a sudden.
Okay, just hurt my feelings. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it. I'll be okay. I'm a big girl.
You've been hurting my feelings all night. I've been holding it in.
Yeah, my feelings are so hurt right now. Can you tell? Can you tell how hurt they are? Can you hear it in my voice?
She's about 10%. She's about 10% concerned that I was being serious.
Yeah, no, not really.
5%.
I've been maybe.
She's way too nice and she won't admit it, but she's mildly concerned. Even though she knows it's mostly bullshit. She's still a little concerned.
I'm lightly concerned because my fucking biological clock is ticking and my eggs are fucking dying. They're dying.
Here's the part of the podcast where Emma says you could be a part of this. Just call me at this podcast and
Oh my God. No, I just get.
Do you like the sound of my voice? Do you like being yelled at? Me and my 4 eggs are waiting to meet you.
4 eggs. Anyway.
She's like,
well, it's been great talking to you, Brian. I'm gonna click. Click. Fucking.
Listen. Just because I spit hard facts doesn't mean...
Spit hard facts? You got on me for being white last week. Are you fucking kidding me? I spit hard facts. You sound like a fucking... you sound like a wigga. Wigga.
And she drops the hard W, and we're already in trouble.
I didn't say... Okay.
At least she waited until the hour and 50 mark.
That's right. Now, at least it's not the first 10 seconds and we get demonetized.
Dropping that hard Ritz cracker lifestyle.
Yep. I'm going to go back. I'm going to watch more Price is Right. Fuck, I love this show. I love Price is Right so much.
God, you're old.
I'm not old. Dude, I used to watch this show if I was home from sick.
You're old and white and wrinkled, let me tell you.
You like the show too, don't even lie.
Love you, honey. Have a good night.
Okay. And
she's like, I fucking hate you. And I fucking hate you. And thank you for tuning into the Simply Unrelated, Strictly, another S word that Emma's going to get mad and think I ruined. See? There you go.
I'm sorry. I was trying not to throw up. I'm sorry.
Emma's just imitating the people that send her messages on dating apps once they find out who she's really like.
Okay, that one was actually funny.
I'm a pretty funny guy.
Yeah, pretty funny. Pretty fucking.
See.
Pretty ugly. No, that's a
pretty fucking.
Pretty fucking.
I don't know if it's pretty fucking, but you know.
All right. And scene.
Yeah, it sounds like that sometimes.
Oh, remind me, I'm going to tell you something funny.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.